Hi, this is the bad boy, Joey Janela, and you're listening to the Going in Raw podcast. Joey Janela always goes in.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Going in Raw.
Hey everyone, Kenny Omega here. In case you didn't know, we have an awesome kick-butt show called Steve and Larson's Going in Raw, and they're going to be supporting AEW every week amongst many other things. Goodbye and smooch. Good night. Bye-bye.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson, and available wherever podcasts can be found. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're listening to us, or if you're watching us rather on YouTube. Follow us over on the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. That's where we do our live recaps after every WWE and AEW show that's on TV. And so we'll just hop right into it, man. Number one, I guess first off, let's just get the jovialities out of the way, Larson. You are now Larson Two Straps, Dr. Larson, the King of Two Belts. How does that feel?
Feels great.
I'm sure
it
does.
feels pretty good.
Sure it does.
You know, I had a rough patch of about 7.5 or so months. Preceding that, I had my win at Wrestle Kingdom denied because you stole Big Red.
We're going back to this again.
Yeah.
We're going back to this. Why do you have to bring up the old
because
stuff?
It's a slap in the face, not just to me, to be such a poor sport that you would deny me what was rightfully mine. On top of that, you lied to everybody out there for months on end.
But then
I
legitimately carried that title for like 8 months. Both
that's
titles.
what I'm talking about. Anyways, I'm happy. I got both the belts now. Big Gold will join Big Red back there behind me, hopefully for a very long time.
I'm just happy that he's going to be they're going to be on camera in your possession. That's what I was worried about that. Anyways, and this one talks too, man. It's crazy. You're going to have some. You think your sleep is bad now?
Nobody talks. No, they don't talk. They don't talk. I haven't heard a peep in my house.
They will. So congratulations. You stripped me of my dignity. At SummerSlam with this ridiculously stupid hair, and now you've taken everything from me. Congratulations. Speaking of somebody who almost had everything taken away from him, Matt Hardy suffered from a pretty nasty spill tonight, and it left a lot of fans with a lot of questions as to exactly who's got the power in AEW to stop a match when clearly it should have been stopped. Larson, what happened here?
So what happened is early on in the Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara Broken Rules match, they're fighting in this tunnel that goes from the stadium to Daly's Place, and there's a scissor lift there. They get on the scissor lift, they raise it. There's like a merch table or something there, and Matt Hardy set up for side effect off that. Sammy Guevara reverses it, spears Matt Hardy off the scissor lift, I don't know, like 10, 15 feet in the air. They don't go through the table. They kind of skim off of it. Barely.
The table did break, though, right?
I don't think so. I think it toppled over.
Really?
I think it just fell on the side.
Oh, wow. Anyways, continue. I'm gonna look at that.
If it broke, it toppled on the side, then it broke.
Okay.
Anyways, Matt Hardy pretty much hit the back of his head on the concrete just from 10 feet up in there, 15 feet up in the air. Okay, the table did break. Okay,
because I watched it once and I did not watch the replay. So for all I know,
no, okay. I was so focused on Matt Hardy where his head hit, not the table.
Yeah,
I remember it toppled over. I thought that's all it was.
Anyway. Oh no, you're hold on a second. Okay, so we're both right because it toppled. You're right, like it went over like this, but it did break in the process. So we're both right.
Okay, but they didn't really impact it much. Like, they didn't really get a whole lot of the table.
Not a ton. That table seemed gimmicked to heck.
Yeah. So Matt Hardy lays there. He's not moving. You think, all right, he's out. You know, he's unconscious there. And so immediately Aubrey Edwards goes over to him, checks on him, throws up the X because she sees, I'm guessing clearly, that he's unconscious. And then, he starts to maybe move a little bit. Sammy goes over to him, tries to get him up maybe. Again, Aubrey's like, get away, X. At that point, Matt Hardy's trying to get up too. He's stumbling around. He doesn't have any legs under him. Finally, the doc comes out and they call the match, bell rings. So Sammy starts wandering up towards the ringside area. And then, I don't know, like a minute later, maybe two, Matt Hardy starts making his way that way as well. And so they come back out towards Daly's place for the ring setup. They ring the bell again and restart the match. The finishing spot involves both of them climbing again 10, 15 feet.
Commentary was selling it for it's like 15 feet, yeah.
And then Matt Hardy punched Sammy off, and there was a spot where there was a crash pad underneath some boards. He goes through, he loses. It's a last man standing match effectively. But seeing Matt Hardy on the concrete, seemingly unconscious, he gets up and he can barely walk. He's stumbling around. He's got no legs. He falls over at one point. He's holding on to Sammy's trunks to try to keep himself up. Why this match was allowed to continue is beyond me. Commentary apparently said, this is secondhand, we were doing our stream, I couldn't hear exactly what they were saying, that essentially AEW's doctor cleared Matt Hardy to finish, which probably shouldn't have happened. I don't, somebody dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And say Schnauzer here in chat says, commentary brought up Matt saying he was fine to go repeatedly, making it seem like they're washing their hands of it, like it's on him for deciding to continue. Here's the thing. If a talent has suffered any sort of head injury, they need a thorough evaluation. They can't make that decision for themselves. That's why in the NFL, if they suspect you got any sort of head injury, they take you to the tent, and if they need to do further evaluation, they take you into the locker room. They do, I believe, a standard or a diagnostic test of some sort to get a preliminary evaluation. And I think if you need further testing, to the locker room you go. If they can outright clear you, maybe they'll let you play again. The enforcer during our stream was saying hockey has something similar where they take you back to a quiet place where they can do some testing. There wasn't enough time, it didn't seem like, to do a thorough test to see if he was suffering from a concussion. But just to take Matt's word for it, Matt, he's a he's a performer. Mm-hmm. He wants. I'm sure he feels like he needs to finish the match because there's a story they want to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But him just having potentially suffered maybe a serious head injury, he should not be the one making that decision for his own safety.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. It was a scary moment. It was an uncomfortable moment. I mean, the closest thing that I can liken it to was the really scary moment between Seth Rollins and Sting. That's the last time I can really think that it was like, oh, God, this looks bad, whatever it is. Because he's just stumbling around. When Sammy tried to pick him up, Aubrey tried to stop the match, and Sammy comes over twice, tries to pick him up, and Matt is just dead on his feet. He's literally being dragged by Sammy. And it's just, dude, when he was laying there after that first spot, you see how far off that table they were. And he's just laying there. I honestly was thinking he could be dead right now. One shot to the head, especially with the number of shots Matt Hardy's taken during his career, he could be dead right now. And that was a freak because he was just nothing. He was just laying there, nothing. And then he starts to get up. It's like, okay, good. They got to get him out of here. And then Sammy comes back around. It was just a mess. And there was that huge gulf of time between Hardy being back up and saying, I will delete you. And then it continuing. And it's like, why did nobody call this one off in the moment? As wrestling fans, the AEW fan in general, I believe, is tuned in enough to know that if this thing stops, I don't give a damn what the outcome is. It needs to be stopped. And if it's stopped for a damn good reason.
Yes.
I don't need to see a fake fight finish its conclusion if the two guys putting on the match, putting on the performance, if one of them is screwed up, and then to let him climb up the whatever it is.
The lighting truss, yeah.
Yeah. Was just it kind of a stain on the pay-per-view. I thought the pay-per-view otherwise was pretty solid. I thought there was a couple of really, really, really terrific matches. But yeah, kind of really put a damper on things, you know?
Yeah, it definitely did. Once that happened and they let the match continue, it really took me out of the show. Mm-hmm. It really did. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could appreciate people's work because the match that followed that was Shida versus Thunder Rosa, which was
great.
Awesome.
Which was terrific.
Which was a fantastic match.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like I could invest in it as much as I should because or would like to have, because of what just happened and what was allowed to happen afterwards. Like Rebby, Matt's wife, she was seemingly incensed based on a tweet. Reports are that Matt Hardy was taken to a hospital to be evaluated. I hope he's okay. A fall from that height, seemingly right on the concrete, is scary. And you just got to hope that he's okay. And if he has a concussion, that's the worst of his injuries.
Yeah. Jorge D said, according to Shivani on the post show, Matt passed initial concussion testing and went to the hospital for additional scans. I guess we'll see, but I don't know, man. In the moment, that looked nasty. That looked really nasty.
He was out. He was out.
He was out.
He was out.
He was clearly out.
Once someone gets knocked unconscious, just stop the match.
Yeah. Seriously,
just stop the match.
Spot like that.
I don't care about the story they're telling. I don't want someone to get seriously hurt during the show.
Yeah,
I don't want that to happen.
Yeah,
don't want it to happen.
Otherwise, there was obviously some pretty big developments. Mox, obviously, he retained his AEW championship against MJF in what I thought was a really fun match, a very bloody match as well. Made MJF look pretty great. And then, of course, probably the bigger news, I would think the biggest news coming out of the night is finally Hangman Page, Kenny Omega are no longer the AEW tag team champions. FTR was able to pull it off, and then Kenny basically just left Hangman high and dry.
And then went to an SUV.
Yeah, and left.
Essentially gave the Young Bucks an ultimatum.
I thought it was, honestly, dude, I thought it was a really great moment that probably could have been the main event. I know that's sort of a bummer main event thing to end on, but I thought, dramatically speaking, that was like the best moment of the pay-per-view. I thought it was really, really good stuff, and we'll talk about that in our recap. Let's just go ahead and kick this off.
Sure.
And let's see here. First up, so we'll talk about the kickoff here, the buy-in, if you will. Joey Janela took on Serpentico. Joey Janela got the win there with the top rope elbow. Pretty fun match.
Yeah. Before we continue, Kristen Ashley here wants to know how you get the mood lighting in your man cave there. She's asking for Warren. And Mr. Warren Hayes is here as well.
Welcome.
Says, no, she's not. So hi to you both. Thanks for joining us.
Well, if you want to know, it's a $6 blue light at Walmart, a blue flood, a $6 red flood over there. And you're good to go. You're good to go.
Oh, but you got the light on you too. It's nice. It's even.
Yeah, I got like an umbrella light over here. I've got another one pointing over. It's a pretty well conceived setup I got here. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, it looks sharp. I'm shoved in the corner of my bedroom here. It's not the ideal situation, but
dude, it's us. It's us. Come on.
What I gotta do?
At the end of the day, what are we gonna do? We're both in our 40s. We are who we are. This madness here is me. That Spartan nothingness, the void, if you will, is you.
Yeah. I'd like a better lighting setup. I just don't have the room for it. Unless I start hanging lights from the ceiling and stuff. But again, this is my bedroom, so.
Like a police interrogation, vibe.
Just one
would be
overhead
great.
lamp.
Yeah.
Just harsh overlighting.
Maybe just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like a little poster you can put on your door there. I don't know.
See, I'm less worried about the superficial stuff and just lighting it well.
Okay.
That's my point. I'm not talking about the accoutrements back here.
You look
talking about good lighting.
All right. Well, we'll work on it. It's okay. This ain't changing anytime soon.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, after that, in the kickoff, in the buy-in, rather, sorry. This was a wildly fun match. Private Party versus Silver and Reynolds from the Dark Order.
This was a good match.
Yeah, this was really, really fun. Gin and Juice got the 3 count for Private Party. But yeah, I would really recommend that match.
Silver Reynolds are a really good tag team.
They're terrific.
They're really good.
They're terrific.
John Silver gets a lot of crap from Birdie Lee. He's a damn good wrestler.
I can't wait. I never thought I'd say those words. Can't wait for Being the Elite.
It's looking to be a action-packed episode, potentially. This match was really fun, though. A lot of back and forth. Again, 2 really good tag teams. You got the finish. this is the match, the pre-show to really watch. It was good. It was really good.
Absolutely. The show started with, so this was going to be on the buy-in, but enough people bitched about it. They put it on the main card. I think, yeah, it deserved to be on the main card, mainly because it was really short. It was very silly, but I thought that the level of humor in this tooth and nail match, I thought elevated it to main show. I thought this was wonderful, like slapstick comedy match. So of course
it didn't overstay its welcome either.
No, it was pretty short. Like they didn't really do much, but what they did was pretty effective. Of course, this was to take place at Britt Baker's dentist office.
Dental
practice. So Swole rolls up. She's got the ref with her. And of course, again, trying to disguise herself, Rebel is under the mask. And she's like, can you sign this paperwork? And then she's like, what's your name? She's like, Swole, Big Swole. And she's like, and she's like, Britt, she's here. Swole slaps her, goes down the hallway.
Takes the clipboard that Reba gave her and hit her with the clipboard.
Yeah.
When you go to a doctor or dentist, they give you the clipboard to put your information in.
Yeah, Rebel took a pretty vicious beating tonight. She actually took a pretty vicious beating.
So Swole's walking into an exam room, and it's like something out of Marathon Man. There's like blood everywhere. She starts wandering through the office, and as she's wandering towards the back,
there's blood. That's right. There was blood everywhere.
Blood in one of the exam rooms.
That was great.
Britt walks by, all dramatically backlit, a huge shadow against the wall. She's kind of lurking. So we go into another exam room. Swole hears some chattering. She opens a drawer up, and there's a bunch of those little chattering wind-up teeth. And then Britt comes from behind, clocks her with the framed picture. She tries to extract Swole's molars. Swole hits her with a pan, and then Rebel's in, shoots some water at her. Swole hits her with a tray.
It was just a little water pick.
I know. That stuff's got some force behind it, man.
Yeah, it does. That's true. It does.
So they run to the back of the building. Britt tries to get in her Rolls mobile. Swole hits her with a wet floor sign, I believe. Puts her in the wheelchair, pushes her into the wall. Rebel comes out to make the save, puts Swole in the back of the cart. Britt and her are brawling in there. Britt climbs to the top, super kick, follows the DDT on the top of the cart. Rebel and Britt try to put Swole in the dumpster. Swole fights them off. Instead, Rebel goes in the dumpster. As Rebel goes in the dumpster, she tosses a crutch out for Britt. She hits Swole with it, runs back into the office. Swole rams Britt's face to the counter, and Britt's like, I just got my nose just healed up. My face just healed up. So she's looking for a suplex. Britt escapes that. Swinging neck breaker. Cover. Swole kicks out. Let's get to the finish, though, because this was madness.
This was hilarious.
This was madness. So they're in an exam room. Britt super kicks Swole into a chair, and then she gets a power drill. It's like trying to power drill Swole.
Yeah.
And like stabs at her, and it goes through the chair, and it's stuck.
Yeah.
And Rebel hands Britt a syringe, so she, takes the cap off with her mouth and is trying to stab Swole with it.
Britt is so wonderfully dramatic, like Olivier and Marathon Man here. It's terrific.
Yeah, it's
so
great.
She's trying to stab Swole with it, but Swole like grabs her arm and makes her stab herself in the leg, so her leg goes dead.
It's Novocaine, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so she's got like one leg essentially. And so Swole grabs Britt's dentistry degree.
Yeah, so earlier it wasn't a picture, it was like a different, maybe it was like a certificate of dentistry. I don't know what it was, but it was a certificate of some sort. And then this looked like a degree of some sort as well.
It said Pittsburgh on it, so I think that's where Britt went to school, is University of Pittsburgh.
Maybe there's
the real deal, because afterwards Swole ripped it in half.
Yeah, yeah.
So she grabs Britt's degree, tosses it to Rebel, forearms Rebel. And then Swole hits Britt with Dirty Dancing, knocks her into the exam chair, puts on the mask. Swole wins via nitrous oxide because the ref lifts up Britt's arm. It falls.
I thought that was genius. I thought that was good.
Fun.
I mean,
it was a lot of fun.
I don't know how much of this match was because Britt might be limited in what she could do physically at this point. I mean, they did a bunch of physical stuff, so I don't know. But yeah, it was short, like you said, didn't overstay its welcome. I thought it was pretty good. Gave it 2.5 stars. What are you going to give a match like this? It entertained me. It was funny.
I gave it 2 3/4 because it was really
okay. All right. So after that, we had a really terrific match: Jurassic Express versus the Rude Young Bucks. Oh, these Young Bucks
So
are
rude.
so rude now, Larson. So Marco Stunt, of course, came out with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. He's got a crutch and a boot from apparently somebody in chat said because it was like a Hager match he had or something.
Sorry, what's that?
Marco's
that's what
Marco's ankle or whatever it was. So at various times, like Matt Jackson was stalking Marco. But yeah, I mean, mainly the story of this was just the Young Bucks. They didn't even like cheat or anything to win this match, which I figured they would.
Like they messed with Marco, they kicked his crutch out from under him.
Yeah, and then and the super kicked him. But there was just, I mean, they had like a bit more of a vicious streak, I guess. And they seemed to revel in the violence a bit more. At one point, Nick sort of, I think Jungle Boy was going for a tag on Luchasaurus and Nick took him out. Nick got up in the apron. He started like mocking, like asking for the tag from Jungle Boy and laughing. But no, it was a really fun match. I ended up giving this like 4.5. This was a really good match. But sort of towards the finish, Young Bucks were trying to get the BTE the BTE trigger to Jungle Boy a couple times. Luchasaurus ended up diving out into the crowd, which allowed them, which was weird to me. So you said I sort of put my head down for a second. Was Nick out there or something?
He tossed Nick over the barricade. And then so he goes to the top and jumps, but when he jumped, it looked like it was like way to the left of where Nick was. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of odd, even though I knew what, kind of the sequence to look like in terms of the geography of where everybody was. It looked a little odd.
So okay, Raven LaFleur here in chat. They're doing the scrum right now, the media scrum. He says,
I got something from John Albert. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so according to Sean Ross Sapp, Khan called for the match to end. The doctor checked and cleared Hardy to compete, but according to Khan, the hospital is just a precaution and he seems fine.
Yes, John Albus has Tony Khan says health and safety foremost. Says Matt Hardy is okay. Tony stopped the match. Doctor checked on him. Doctor cleared him per protocol, and Matt passed concussion test.
As a fan, it just looked really bad.
It looked really bad. Yeah, the optics of it in real time looked really bad.
Yeah, I mean, how he wasn't uncomfortable watching the rest of that. Like, I mean, I know he's got the inside info. The doctor said he's fine, but I don't know.
Here's more from Louis Dangor. Tony says that Matt didn't pressure the doctor to clear him to re-enter the match. He said that Doc Sampson is really strict and wouldn't have been pressured in changing his mind. Tony also noted that Matt wouldn't have been able to overrule the decision.
All we can do is take him at their word. It really put a damper on the pay-per-view, though.
It really did.
Yeah. So anyways, in the finish, Luchasaurus took himself out basically by diving into the crowd. Young Bucks get the advantage there, obviously. Hit the was this a BTE trigger or driver?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
trigger. To Jungle Boy to get through. I have driver here, I don't know why. But yeah, really terrific match. Definitely check that one out. After that, we had the Casino Battle Royale. And this was fun. There was a couple spots that just looked kind of a little sloppy, maybe.
Yeah, the finish was really weird.
It was really weird.
It was really weird. There was a spot with, of course, Darby Allin that seemed way too dangerous. Like typically, historically speaking, AEW's done a really good job of booking fun, creative battle royals. And there are spots in here that were in line with that, but the finish was it was kind of too much where they, suddenly they come up with this thing where Eddie Kingston's afraid of snakes. Jake brings his snake with him, or at least that's the idea because he has the bag. Mm-hmm. But it just goes too far at the end. So anyways, there's really no point going through the series of eliminations. We did see the debut, AEW debut of Matt Sydal.
Yeah, that was rad.
Which is cool. However, his huge debut was spoiled because his first huge spot was going to do a shooting star press and his foot slipped.
Oh.
Thankfully, it looked like he caught the slip pretty quick, so he didn't start to rotate. Because I've seen the replay of it on Twitter quite a bit, and you could see him almost kind of put the brakes on the rotation, mm-hmm. and so he just kind of takes a flat back bump. Mm-hmm. But it could have been really bad.
Mm-hmm. This is great.
So anyways,
Danthrax, sorry not to cut you off there. Danthrax in chat says, Steve, your notes for the Battle Royal said he threw Allen to Sydal. Matt Sydal. When did he enter? Where did he come from? That's the joy of Steve notes. You'll find out when Larson tells you.
Yeah, Matt Sydal was last. He entered last. He had
Yeah.
the Joker. He
Yeah.
entered at 21. So the final three. Also, I want to point out Will Hobbs, someone who's wrestled in Northern California quite a bit.
Awesome.
Was in this. Came out relatively early. Had a really strong showing. So that's always great to see.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So the final three were Sydal, Eddie Kingston, and
The Butcher.
Lance Archer.
Oh, Lance Archer.
Lance Archer. So
I thought
Archer eliminates
Kingston come out with the Butcher?
Yeah, I think the last three people in the match.
Oh, okay.
So Archer eliminates Butcher, and then Kingston eliminates Sydal, and then so there's this weird spot where Kingston's on the top rope sitting, and Archer's on the apron, and you have Jake with his snake bag, kind of like at first like holding it up in front of Kingston, and Kingston's like he's trying to fight Archer off, and the Butcher and the Blade are out there attacking Archer to try to help Kingston win, and then Jake just takes that bag and starts hitting Eddie Kingston with it.
Yeah.
It's like swinging it at him.
And
It's like
commentary
that-
is trying to say that Kingston's like deathly afraid of
Yeah,
snakes.
but if like that was a snake in there, why would Jake do that to a snake?
Well, it is Jake Roberts.
So, anyways, Kingston gets choke slammed off the top rope. Archer wins. It was just a really weird, sloppy finish.
And then everybody who's focusing on, at least in our chat, everybody who's focusing on Kingston, the fact that he didn't actually go over the top, he like came out from under and then went up on top. So like maybe, but I'm like, you know what? Like there was enough time there for the refs to just say, okay, if he gets eliminated, he's eliminated. Like in the spirit, it's a good.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a strange end.
Yeah, it was goofy. It was way overdone. Like the end was way overdone. And then there was Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to mention the spot with Darby Allin.
That's what I was going to do too. Go ahead.
Okay, so Ricky Starks is eliminated by Darby. He tosses Darby into the ring post, and they gets a body bag from under the ring, toss it in the ring. Brian Cage opens it up. There's thumbtacks inside, so he takes the bag of thumbtacks, dumps it into the body bag, puts Darby in it, and then more or less power bombs him out of the ring onto the stage in a body bag full of thumbtacks.
Mm-hmm.
So Darby can't really, usually we take a power bomb bump, especially you have your arms out. You can kind of control your fall to an extent and disperse the impact across a greater surface area.
Yeah.
Being in a body bag, you can't do that. I'm sure there's a certain extent there's less control you have over your body when you're falling when you're in a body bag.
Yeah, it looked awkward. Like I don't know. Like it's funny because the angle that it was shot at was pretty far away. But you could still kind of see, like, I don't know. It just seemed, look, Darby Allin's entire thing is like being on the verge of recklessness. Some might say crossing that particular line into sheer recklessness. But yeah, I don't know. It was a fun spot, but yeah, it looked like it could have been gnarly. I kept on looking at Darby when the trainers were down there and he was like moving. I was like, okay, well, he's moving, so that's fine. But otherwise, I mean, Brian Cage had a really good showing. He was a lot of fun. Like you said, Will Hobbs, that was a lot of fun seeing him out there. There was some cool surprise eliminations. Sonny Kiss didn't Sonny Kiss eliminate
Hager.
Hager, that's right. So that was neat. Anyways, yeah, that was fun. After that, we had Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. We've talked about this endlessly already. This is the one I gave a dud to because I didn't think it should keep on going.
I gave it a just stop the match.
Okay, a new entry in the star rating. So just stop the match.
Just stop the match. If we take everybody at the word, we take Tony Khan at his word, Doc Samson at his word. From a real-time perspective, watching it, it's a scary situation. I speak for myself and several others. I've seen anecdotally say that spot took them out of the show, and just the thought in my head, and I'm guessing other people's heads, when they let the match continue, you're potentially endangering not just Matt Hardy, but also maybe Sammy Guevara.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
If Matt doesn't have his legs under him, it's just a scary situation. If everybody we take them at the word and Matt is fine, doesn't erase the fact that at the moment it's damn scary. Mm-hmm. Seems like it should have been stopped.
When you see a guy like not being able to stand up right for like a stretch, like they gave him that moment to say, okay, can you walk? Like, are you and he wasn't. At that point, you just say, I don't care what the doctor says. This is my company. I'm stopping the match. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyways, after that, like we said before, a terrific Thunder Rosa versus Hikaru Shida match for the AEW Women's Champion.
Fantastic.
Of course, Thunder Rosa is the current NWA Women's Champion. And, man, I hope this gets some eyes back on the NWA when they restart production, which I think is supposed to be pretty soon. This was really, really good stuff. It was very smooth wrestling. I liked it. I think we both liked it, and the Enforcer liked it, because after what we just saw, with the exception of a couple spots here and there, they kept it to like wrestling, ridiculous spots, not trying to do anything too silly.
Yeah, apart from like a Death Valley driver on the apron.
Yeah.
And then there was a spot out in the stage. Yeah, I mean, like, commentary is really pushing Thunder Rosa technical acumen and how that would square off against Shida, who's more of a striker. Yeah, this was fantastic. This might have been my favorite match of the night, because just the story being told was great. Thunder Rosa looking like a star.
She looked great, man. She looked really great. Like, I wasn't like huge. It was a good match, the one she had with Serena Deeb at Dynamite. But I thought it didn't put her over enough.
Yeah,
this really did, because she was in control a lot of this match. She was doing some really cool stuff. I love the bit where she had the hanging pendulum submission on Shida. It was pretty early in the match, and she started swinging her up into the turnbuckle. I thought that was really great stuff.
Great.
And
that was great.
Her character work is really good too. Like, she's like smiling and like snarling the whole time, because she was wrestling this like, heel. This was really good stuff from her.
It was really good. This and the counter wrestling in this match I thought was great. There was this great spot where Shida hits a running knee while Rosa's on the apron, and she gets the chair out to do the jumping knee off it. And while she's setting up for it, Thunder Rosa sprints towards it. She does the jumping knee off the apron. It's like, hey, they've scouted each other's work. They're familiar with each other's work. And some of the technical stuff was really crisp, really fast. Yeah, I was all about it. This was a really good match. Finish saw Shida hit a backbreaker, followed with Shining Wizard to get the win. Like, there's this great bit where Thunder Rosa eats a Falcon Arrow, kicks out at one.
At one,
look on her, she's smiling.
Yeah,
afterwards,
that was great.
Smiling and laughing.
That was great.
It was so good. It was a really good match. Probably my match of the night.
Yeah. I think in terms of just like a pleasant, delightful surprise, I agree with you. I think the tag match is probably like my actual match of the night.
Juan Gotti's got it right. It's the Meteora to the stage where like the margin for error, either Thunder Rosa's head clipping the corner of a stair, or Shida going knee first into a corner of a stair, was pretty thin, like an inch. But they got it done.
Right,
they did it perfectly.
Yeah. Raven LaFleur also says here, thanks, by the way, everybody, for your updates here on the everybody giving us updates. Raven says, Tony Khan says he wants to bring Thunder Rosa back if he can work something out with Billy Corgan.
That's a great
You got
call.
a lot of talent, Tony. Offer up a talent exchange. NWA could probably use it. Getting restarted here. So after that, we had an interview with Kip Sabien and Penelope Ford, where they announced that they are engaged. So congratulations to them, assuming that's real. Their marriage.
They've actually been engaged for a while.
Oh, is that real? That's a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've been engaged for a while, I think.
Okay, cool. I just knew that they were like together. I didn't know they were engaged. Good for them. Their marriage is going to be live on Dynamite, but he needs a best man. He needs the best man for the job of being best man. He's going to announce who that is on Dynamite. I'm assuming he means this coming Dynamite. Larson, who's the best man, brother?
So, wrestling news sites started reporting they were engaged back in April.
Oh, okay. WrestleMania season. Great. I gave 3 3/4 to that Thunder Rosa match.
Oh, 4 1/4 for me.
Nice.
That was great. I honestly don't know.
It should be Miro. You don't need to debut him as a top guy. Debut him as the best man.
No, I wouldn't be into that.
No good, huh? No good?
No, I wouldn't be into that.
No good.
No, because he should debut as top guy, as a top guy.
No.
Because he is a top guy. He can be a top guy.
He should be promoting some Bang energy drink or Bang. Is Bang an energy drink? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, it is. Okay.
I've had it before. I like Bang.
Hilton loved Bang, didn't he?
I don't know, but I did. It was good.
There you go. Warren Hayes says another love triangle for Miro. Man, it writes itself, dude.
Oh,
hey,
gosh,
you
I'm
look
sure
like
he'd be-
Lana. Yes.
I'm sure
Or
he'd be into
CJ.
that.
You look like CJ.
After that, we had Dark Order versus the Natural
wait,
Nightmare.
sorry. And at the end of the interview, he promoted his Twitch channel, and then a little thing at the bottom of the screen said, "This has been approved by AEW."
This message was approved by AEW.
Clear shot against WWE for whatever they're doing over there.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. So next up, Dark Order versus the Nightmare Guys.
Yeah, Natural Nightmare, Scorpio Sky, and Matt Cardona. Again, I was hoping after Brody Lee's huge win a couple weeks against Cody, that at least from his own, like his force of will, would lead Dark Order to victory. However, Dark Order is still a bit of a bubbling act. This is a fun match, but at the end, it's Colt Cabana taking a little too long to get the cover. In fact, he wants to go for a moonsault to put his own stamp on the victory, and that allows Dustin to come to roll up Colt to get the win. And then, of course, Brody Lee, he is incredulous. He is beside himself, flabbergasted. He has a fit, starts shoving people all over the place, gets in Colt Cabana's face, asks him, "What are you doing?" And then he and pretty much all the rest of the Dark Order storm out, save for Colt and Uno. Uno extends a hand to Colt, helps him up. They leave together.
That was so nice. Yeah, well, you know what, man? Maybe it isn't meant to be for Colt and the Dark Order.
Doesn't seem like it, does it?
Doesn't seem like it, man. Doesn't seem like it. They need to get on Brody Lee's page so they can continue to reap the benefits from that millions of dollars of Chili's money.
Chili's money. They want to get that Chili's money.
I have a
Just
correction
roll
for
on
Steve
in.
Notes. I brought this down. For some reason, I had it at 3.5. I got it at 3 stars.
Yeah, that's what I got to. 3
Okay,
stars.
yeah. I don't know what I was
Fun
thinking
enough.
with that one.
Good story told. I still kind of feel like Dark Order should have won. Like Brody should just we're winning. I'm gonna go and win this match for us.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. This is why I'm okay with it going down the way it did. It advances the Colt story, and Colt is the one piece of Dark Order that just isn't working, and I think that's a great story they can tell. It wasn't the Dark Order that lost; it's the guy that's just hanging out with Dark Order that lost. Because it was one. He had it won, and then Colt decided to go against, and Brody Lee was like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this extra thing? Don't do that." So I was okay with it. Plus, Matt Cardona, he needs to get a win, man. He needs to. They need to give him a mic or something. How is it this former Intercontinental Champion is just sort of hovering in the background?
Well, it's because he
on
only signed a
AEW.
short-term deal. They probably don't want to invest a bunch of serious time in him if he's not going to stick around.
It's just weird. Okay, what if he eventually decides to stick around? Then all of a sudden, his debut is basically ruined. That was a bad idea, signing a guy.
They'll
just
do a
for short
Calabac
term.
thing. They'll just re-debut him.
That's a bad move. Signing somebody just for a short term. Why? What's the point?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the logistics of it all were. Why that was a deal. I don't know.
Yeah. You're right. After that, Dustin had an interview. He's basking in the glory of winning that match, and he's informed by Tony Schiavone that he gets a TNT title shot against Mr. Brody Lee. He's gonna get murdered.
On Dynamite, he's going to get
Just
destroyed.
murdered.
Destroyed.
I shouldn't read this one, but Jorge says, seriously, did Dustin do a ton of blow before his interview with Tony? He was psyched. He was hyped, man. He was jacked.
He was very excited.
He was very excited.
He was very excited. After that, we had tag title match, FTR versus Hangman Page, Kenny Omega. FTR and Tully basically had jackets with the Four Horsemen logo on.
Pretty much. I definitely saw some horses, like an
There
Unsolved
was 2
Mystery
horses
stream.
as opposed to 4. I couldn't see what the writing underneath the horses said.
New Four Horsemen,
But
that's what it said.
it was maybe. So there's something to brewing.
It could be called
with all that.
the More Horsemen. Don't laugh. That's not funny.
So initially it's Kenny and Cash. They're going to start, and Paige is like, "No, come on, trust me. I want to start. I want in." So Kenny obliges. Some back and forth between Cash and Page, and then Hangman just starts doling out a bunch of punches and pretty much knocks both members of FTR out of the ring. Kenny runs in, and instead of joining in the fight, it's like, hey, calm down. Calm down. You're too fired up. Calm down.
Kenny's building up that go-away heat for me, man. Him and the Bucks acting like jerks. You can be bad guy. Don't be a jerk. He's being a jerk. Calm down. It's a wrestling match. You want him fired up.
I know. So FTR tries to take advantage. Can't. Kenny and Page hit a bunch of chops on him. And then Page is like, high five me, bro. Meanwhile, the ref's like doing the 10 count, like, so Page has to leave. And Kenny just kind of stands there for a second and goes,
oh, man.
High five. And Page barely, beats the 10 count to get back on the apron. And there's a lot of really good back and forth. Eventually, FTR targets Kenny's knee after he misses a V-trigger. And they tear the shit out of his knee. Mm-hmm. They beat it up. Mm-hmm. They beat it.
Who had it worse, Kenny tonight or Tanahashi at the hands of Zack Sabre Jr. and remember that?
Yeah, Taichi.
Taichi, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was rough.
I don't know, man.
That was good stuff.
That was good stuff. So eventually Kenny gets the hot tag to Page. Where did I get my notes here? Blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I'll skip ahead. FTR did the Steiner Brothers old finisher twice, the Bulldog, the Doomsday Bulldog type thing. One for Kenny, one for Page. So FTR sets up for their finish. Kenny breaks it up. So Page and Cash are up top. Adam Page hits the moonsault power slam. That's a fantastic move. I'm still amazed that anybody could pull that off. Gets a 2. Kenny gets the tag in. Cash is isolated for a bit. Kenny holds up Cash for a buckshot lariat. Cash escapes that. And so Kenny tries to hit Cash with a V-trigger. Cash moves. Instead, Kenny hits a V-trigger on Page, and then Cash chop blocks Omega.
Yeah.
And Kenny's like doing this behind him, trying to wake up Page so he doesn't eat the L. Mm-hmm. He's like hitting him, trying to grab onto the tassels on his new pants. Try to get him up. So Cash kicks Kenny out of the ring. FTR hits their finish on Page, gets a 2. And there's a little more back and forth with Cash trying to get Kenny out of the match. FTR hits their finish again to get the win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then afterwards, FTR, they crack open some beers, leave one in the ring for Page. Kenny runs in with a TV tray, essentially, chases off FTR, and then he kind of turns his attention to Page. Looking at the tray, like, am I going to hit him with it? He puts it down. By this point, Page kind of gets to his feet, stumbles, lurches towards Kenny, and Kenny doesn't catch him. Page falls on his face, kicks the beer out of the ring, and then he leaves. So he's walking backstage. He runs to the Young Bucks. He's like, here, let's go. I'm done. I want a clean break. So they walk out of Daly's place. Matt's like, hey, come on, Kenny, let's talk this out. Again, Kenny says, no, I want a clean split. He gets in the SUV, and I think he says, hey, once you do this, you can't go back on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's trying to get the Young Bucks to get in the SUV with him. They don't. He drives off.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I gave it 4.5 stars. And yeah, I'm really, this has got to morph into the A storyline, dude. I want them to wrap this up into the title scene. Mm-hmm. Kenny versus Hangman should be like feud of the year going into 2021. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because this is really, really strong stuff. That last bit, I can't overstate how much I loved him trying to lean on Kenny because he's collapsing, and Kenny just I said this during the stream. It was worse it would have been better for Kenny just to have laid out Hangman with that TV tray than do what he actually did, which was get out of the way of his friend who was falling and needed his support. That was so great. That was so great.
That was really good. Heartbreaking moment.
Yeah, totally.
Next, we had a Chris Jericho interview. Kind of like he reiterated a lot of what he said over the last couple of weeks. This whole thing was about trying to see if Orange Cassidy could be a main eventer. Thanks to Jericho, now he is. But tonight, Cassidy's going to find out that what Jericho does is make dreams come true and then ends them.
Mm-hmm.
So next, we have the Mimosa Mayhem match. This is pretty cheesy. You know, there's these two huge vats of what looked to be Sunny D on either side of the ring. And it was all about, like, there were so many moments where they were just kind of tempting fate and like trying to tiptoe around the edge of this vat, and like, if someone just slips, your finish is ruined. Why tempt fate? Your finish is ruined. Someone gonna slip and take a header into the vat
I was far more concerned with them doing wrestling moves after, because like they would, there was a bit where like Orange Cassidy had fallen near the vat and his head kind of went in a little bit, or like Jericho's leg went in, and the commentary is very clear to say, well, you need to be submerged. That was, what they said. And so I was more concerned with their feet being wet and pulling a Seidel and slipping. And at one point, Jericho had Cassidy up like on the second rope or something, and
for
he could
Razor's
see,
Edge,
that's right, for the Razor's Edge bit. And his foot started to slip on the rope, and I was like, oh, I don't need to see Botchfest 3000 here tonight at All Out. But yeah, they did all this silly stuff. I mean, dude, I get that this seems to have been Jericho's pet project. He even said it in his interview prior that, you know what? I think he even said, mission accomplished. Orange Cassidy is now a main eventer. I kind of disagree with that because like goofy matches, while fun, and I really like them in there, and they have their place. Orange Cassidy, totally, I am into him. I don't see that kind of act as like a main event guy. I know he's really popular and everything. I don't know unless you have a bit of a change in it, because he like doesn't talk and then he does talk. And there seems to be like, he's not like a real person. And I feel like the main event scene is for like stories with relatable humans, and you care about them because they're like real, Whereas he's still kind of a cartoon. Like, I don't really think it's mission accomplished. I'm not sure how much of a, after this match, so Jericho falls in the vat, he loses, right? Yeah. After the match, JR says, if you look at, or maybe it was before the match, JR says, if you look at where Orange Cassidy was professionally when AEW started, and look at where he is now, I told you this. I don't really think there's that much of a difference. I mean, he has some wins over Jericho in goofy ways and matches.
I think there is, to an extent, because when he showed up in AEW, like, we knew who he was, but we weren't that familiar with his work. We knew his gimmick, maybe seen a little bit of it. If anything, I don't think this feud with Jericho has elevated Orange Cassidy to a main eventer. I agree. He's more than an indie darling now, though.
I agree with that. But I kind of feel like, has there been besides the additional exposure, has there been much of a change? I mean, okay, we've seen. I mean, I saw matches on the indie scene when he would kick up the intensity. I don't think his game has really changed
here,
that
from
much.
A character perspective, I don't think anything about this was about Orange Cassidy picking up his game as compared to what he did in the indies, because I don't know how many people who watch AEW watched a lot of his stuff in the indies. I think this was about introducing Orange Cassidy, the wrestler, the character, to a larger fan base, establishing him as more than just a novelty, which is what he appeared he was going to be. Like, he showed up in the background, he opened the door, he's a crapper. Early on, he seemed like a bit of a novelty. Now he's more than that. He's a legit competitor.
Do you think he is more than that, though? Do you think this changed all that much about him?
Again, I was familiar enough with his work before entering AEW that I kind of knew what he did, but someone who was not, who may not have been that familiar with Orange Cassidy to begin with, they might answer that question, soundly in the affirmative. I don't know.
That's a good point. I mean, if this was, hey, this is what this guy's all about beyond what you guys have seen in AEW.
Hands in pockets, sunglasses, kicking shins. He's a legit competitor. He's a legit wrestler.
All right.
He's not just the gimmick. And if that's it, if Jericho saying he's a main eventer now, no, is he a competitor? That to pay attention to and to take seriously? Yeah.
I am interested to see what they're going to do with him to get him to that next level, because maybe this was a really high profile way of getting him to the level where, okay, we know kind of what he's about. See where he goes from here. I mean, Raven says, I didn't know who Cassidy was before AEW. He's one of my favorite characters in wrestling now. So there you go. Maybe it is mission accomplished.
Yeah. So the finish of that saw, you mentioned the Razor's Edge off the second rope. Orange escapes that, hits him with a Superman punch. So Jericho's like holding on to the ropes, teetering on the edge. Cassidy takes the elbow pad off, hits him with another Superman punch. Jericho flings himself into Mimosa. We didn't get the Jericho with cry face shot, though, at the end, where he's like screaming, in his high-pitched scream that he's, super upset that he got dunked in Mimosa.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get that.
Yeah, he was just laid out.
He's kind of floating there for a little bit, and then he got out.
Yeah, I thought there'd be a lot more dramatic splish splashing.
I know, me too, and him screaming at Cassidy. Cassidy! Cassidy! After that, they announced that Full Gear is happening November 7th, the next pay-per-view. So in pretty much 2 months, exactly.
Yeah, be interesting to see where the wrestling world is at that point.
Yeah, and then finally our main event, MJF versus Mox. Fun enough match. MJF early on targeting Mox's arm. Targeted. Hits him with an arm wringer on the apron. Then fortunes kind of turned in Mox's favor when he slingshot MJF to the ring post. It busts MJF open, but it forced MJF, because the setup for this was, especially on the go home, was, hey, MJF can be just as violent and crazy as Mox can be. And this kind of furthered that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like MJF didn't quit. He kept fighting.
Yeah.
He wanted to get that title still.
Yeah, he looked great in this. I mean, he looked like $1 million. The blood really helped. AEW, I love that they're not shy about the blood, because I think that can really enhance a story. I actually really, I thought this match was maybe not as great as the Darby Allin title shot, but like after that, I thought it was pretty damn good. I thought this was better than the Hager one for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I forget who else. I forget who else he's fought for the title, but no, I thought this was a pretty damn good match, to be honest with you. And I'm not just saying that because MJF referenced this on Twitter this morning in a very
it was a strong showing for Max.
His gear looked great too.
Oh, his gear was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun match, and even though they got busted open, MJF, he hits his Heat Seeker, goes for another one. Mox reverses that to the air raid crash, and several times Mox was teasing, old habits die hard.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a position to drop Mox or MJF with the paradigm shift, and realizes, or the ref tells him, "Oh, I can't do that." So he employs the air raid crash. Gotch pile driver, puts him in
rename it.
Puts him in a sleeper or a rear naked choke. Each time either MJF escapes or kicks out. Finish saw MJF hit a crossroads. He gets a 2. Wardlow hops up on the apron. So the ref's like, hey, get down. Wardlow tosses the ring, the Diamond Dozen ring, into the ring. MJF turns around, tries to find it. He's face to face with Mox. Ref's still dealing with Wardlow. Mox hits paradigm shift while the ref's back is turned, covers him for the win, and Wardlow's reaction was perfect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was
his shock, but also a little bit of fear in his face.
You know what? This whole feud has actually done wonders for Wardlow, because it's always little things in the background that he's doing that is really noticeable, and like just adds a little bit of layer here and there. And that reaction tonight was like a big layer for him. I thought that was really good.
I'm gonna compare his background work to someone else who's doing pretty well for themselves right now in WWE. Drew McIntyre, when he was Dolph's Heavy, the way he like completely transformed himself from the character he was in NXT, the main roster, in terms of his body language, his movement, every little thing about him added so much to his character, even if he wasn't directly involved in the action.
Yeah, and it just goes to show, man, you can have a guy. You don't have to like just get a guy out there and have enhancement match after enhancement match to build him. You could do it like this, you know? Mm-hmm. And then if he has a feud with MJF. I mean, the great thing about this is that it's still the idea of this, the paradigm shift is banned, and yet Mox still had to use the paradigm shift, kind of gives MJF a bit of, a moral victory here anyways. Because he said, see, I told you couldn't do it without that. I mean, it's still not a victory, but he still does it. He looks pretty good anyways.
Yeah. He comes out of this looking great. Yeah.
So yeah, but obviously it seems like this is going to be it. I'm sure they'll probably move on to MJF versus Wardlow, maybe at this point, although they might put that off for another feud or two. I don't know. I mean, this was one moment between the two of them because it's obvious that they're doing Mox Archer like yesterday. So we can wait.
Archer was down sitting ringside for this match, and it's like, all right, so much for the. The wondering who's going to win this one. Mox is going to win. Yeah,
as soon as Mox was done, he goes over ringside and he flips off Archer. So yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen at Full Gear or if we're going to get that at like a Super Dynamite a month from now. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
But because I don't really see, I don't know if this is going to be a 2-month build between him and Archer. I think. And I'm not really looking forward to that match anyways, if the Hager match is to be believed. I'm not sure Mox really works great
he and
with...
Archer had a pretty fun match in New Japan. They had a
That's a good point.
That was
fun. That's true.
That was fun.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, it was... Yeah, hold on. Yeah, that was the Texas Death Match, huh?
Yeah, I thought it was fun enough.
Yeah, it was okay.
I mean, it wasn't Mox Kenny, but it was fun enough.
Yeah. All right. We'll see.
Mr. Warren Hayes here in chat says, you friendos are awesome. What a fantastic community y'all have here. Special stuff. Thank you so much, Warren.
Oh, thanks, man.
So
and
much.
Drop some bits. Love the bits. So anyways, we'll stick around the Twitch chat for a little bit and answer some questions. But for now, that's going to be it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. Let us know what you guys thought about All Out in the comments below. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.